How did Germany get so strong after losing World War One? On a cold day in November, the citizens of Munich are going about their daily business. But today was no an ordinary day. Thousands of armed radicals, known as the Brown Shirts, have taken over the streets. Though the Great War is over, the German people live in tense, uneasy atmosphere. Inflation has spiraled out of control, and the uncommon price tag with numbers in the trillions. This is only the matter of time before the solution reaches a critical point. For my family to admit, the Germans were paying 150 billion Reichsmark for one single loaf of bread. The price went up, what? By how much? That is my life saving, quoted by a German citizen. Look, like I said, that was last week. The Nazi party rolls in the background. Alright. Hi. The debt of suffering the worst inflation in history through somehow conquering the whole of Europe within the span of just 20 years. The National Socialist Party appeared to put the economy back on track in an example in many ways that it did not establish the crippled German economy. That requires going further back into the ashes of the Great War. When we hope seemed lost, after the German surrender on 5th of November 1918, a socialist uprising forced the Kaiser Wilhelm II to abduct and design the heir, awaken and then appeal. The German monarchy dismantled, and the German government, popularly referred to the Weimar Republic, rose to take its place as the new government. Humiliating Treaty of June 1919, in addition for being forced paying the crippled war reparations in the industry of the heartland of Germany were occupied by the German military. But was the public New Republic had came overwhelmingly negative thoughts with patriotic Germans that was blaming for the revolution for its Great War myth that the devastating consequences would further down the line. With virtual no industry and a population hostile to its tax, Weimar Republic resorted to dear-heart economics, anywhere printing more money to satisfy the insignificant hyperinflation, and the German mark plummeted in value. At its lowest point in late 1923, over 4 trillion German marks, equivalent to $1 US, despite the Germany and the British for the Americans for existence. The the plan to introduce a new currency of gold standards, was called the Relentless Mark, loaned Germany massive amounts of money to restart its industry section, and the drawn the ways of the plan of the Weimar Republic enjoyed a 3 years of relatively stable recovery. By 1929, the Great Depression struck, and the funding of the United States import almost overnight, worse than still Germany's, still rushing its repayments into the financial and ruins. The series of German chancellors like von Bornstein, the General Kirk was busy handling a fallout of new politicians. The National Socialist German Party, or the party simply called the Nazis, particularly the Nazis, have feared the communism uprising or support of the promoting antagonism anti-Semitic platform demanded a facial wreck pure Germany, delighted by soon of the most of the parties of the National Socialists lost 2 million votes to the Reichstag election in 1932, seeking to capture the weakness of the establishment within the Republic, now ripped to the papacy of the violent party, welcoming leaders to power, surrounded by conservative ministers and the handful of allies in the cabinet's position. Nazi leader Adolf Hitler was appointed Reich Chancellor by Paul von Hindenburg in January 1933. Hindenburg established that they would take control of him, but they could not have suffered any bigger mistake in history. Alone in Chancellor supposed the complete control of the government, he wanted a video of the Weimar Republic no more, and the National Social Party was in full control. The new Secret Service police was the Nazi built-in system of the oppressing and attempt to silence the inactivity of the country towards a one-goal-only war display of public support of Nazis decided to tackle unemployment problem. In reality, in decades of merge of the expansionists of the German military under Mandates and the reported economy instead of the jobs of the encouragement of the young marriage through the genocide loan that recovered women from the workforce and reduced the pool of economic downturn of an illusion of the workforce. Now, shady tactics include counting the part-time workers as fully employed or classify as forced laborers and prisoners as full-time employees. Additionally, according to the Nazi radical policy, many Jews were forced out of their jobs and business, confiscated, and retributions of non-Jewish businessmen who were loyal to the party. And the false image of economic recovery opened up new opportunities. Non-Jewish Germans, at the same time, had been hardship, and all of them are undesired. Isn't there aware of job creation and programs of invested hundreds of millions of Reichsmarks into games of the German? They will go back to work. Many of these money would go back to the German war economy to create Panzer tanks and the Luftwaffe. Corporation of labor program exists called voluntary service rate force. Nazi forced unemployment people of welfare benefits to volunteer, but it was a trick and a scheme. This is the newest concentration camps. Hundreds of thousands of Germans were forced to toll on the embassy of conditions of lower payment of the receipt of the under welfare program, who exposed the complemental and the early forms of settings of the camps, not yet to the Nazis. These suffering workers representative encouragement of static. By 1945, 2 million people underemployed, forcibly labored, have taken out the workforce marriage loans. An actual unemployment rate stood double the figure. It rotted the foundation of the German economy, growing, but then it was nearly not the government, the amount of government spending, and the time of ambitious Nazi massive spending on financial programs. They had mind of the German economics. The end.